In this episode of BEA Conversations, we are speaking with Carina Bauer of the IMEX Group. Carina is a champion of women supporting women, and she's here to talk a little bit about mentorship and what she means by when she means business. So Carina, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's lovely to be here with you, Elle.
Carina, tell me, what does supporting women mean to you?
I think mentorship comes into it very strongly. At the end of the day, I think as a business leader, you want to know that you're supporting all members of your team. But I think there are some specifics of women in business that need to be brought to the forefront. And women do need a different type of mentorship, perhaps. And so I think for me, it's about trying to instill that confidence in other women, that they can rise to the top, or not even to the top, rise to the point at which their ambitions lie. And that's what it is. It's about that development of that opportunity and aspiration so that people can really, achieve what they aspire to do. And I think that's what's really, really important.
So when it comes to mentorship, often than not, it is a very fine line, because I think if you are mentoring someone within your company, perhaps it could be a lot easier because the information is kept within. But if you are mentoring someone outside your organization, so how do you balance that fine line of confidentiality and also empowerment?
Yeah, so I think internally as well, it can be difficult because you can know too much, and that sense of confidentiality, even if it's there, people can actually hide things because they can be not 100% sure around it. I've been involved for over the past year in a scheme in the UK developed by Faye Sharp called Fast Forward 15. She's been running it for 15 years, and I was a mentor over the past year, and she has applications. She probably has about 100 applications a year for 15 places. And she allocates about 5 people to each mentor. We interview them, and then we select one out of those 5. And that was a really fabulous program. And it was about mentoring and developing women in the industry. The mentors were men and women. And we tried to match people, who had a commonality or had common goals. And that was really interesting. As you say, then you're mentoring somebody outside of your business. But actually, it was very freeing, I think, on both sides, to be able to just give that sense of reality sometimes, to just have an ability for the mentee to just talk through things. But the aim really of that program, because it is a defined 1 year, is to set some aspirational goals to achieve during that 1 year. And so it's a really interesting process as a mentor as well, to help somebody really think about what those goals might be, what's achievable, but also what's aspirational, and then help them to get there. And I learned a lot as a mentor as well, and I learned a lot from my mentee, and she's, extraordinary, and I'm excited about, this year, of course, was difficult. It ran May through May, and so the last few months were just, everybody in that vortex of what happened, in February, March, April. But that was a really interesting program. And what we're doing internally in IMEX now is Faye Sharp has actually implemented a mentorship scheme internally at IMEX. So we've given the opportunity for 5 members of the IMEX team to be mentored by Faye. And that is running April through April. And that's called IMEX Mentoring Excellence. But we actually opened that to everybody in the business. It didn't really matter what level you were, and it didn't matter whether you were male or female. Anybody could apply. And I apologize because now is the time that my doorbells rang, as I said that it might. So I'm going to be 1 minute, and I'm really sorry to the audience.
We're going to pause this for a while.
Okay.
It's live. And we're back. This is live.
This is live. I'm really sorry.
Not at all. We just want to make sure that you are able to get the other things done. Can I ask, as mentor, what sort of pressure do you go through? Obviously sometimes mentors are expected to be exemplary and to be to sometimes have the answers. So what pressures do you go through and how do you manage that as a mentor?
That's a really good question, I think. I think the key, though, as a mentor is to try not to give the answers. So I think the difficulty actually, depending on, I suppose, your personality type and your leadership style, is not giving the answers, is just having a conversation and trying to draw out from your mentee the answer, or help them develop their own answer, essentially. I think what was most interesting for me was some of the feedback my mentee gave me in terms of things that I said that helped her, which you don't know, and that's the thing, you don't know what is going to be the most helpful thing. So you need to take each situation in its turn and give the advice that you can and see what sticks.
Would you mind sharing one comment or one feedback that you got that really surprised you?
Yeah, so very early on in the relationship, she was going to have a meeting with her CEO, and she was quite nervous about that and, asked for advice. And I just turned around and said, well, why don't you ask your CEO in advance what it is she wants to talk about and whether she'd like you to put an agenda together for the meeting. She'll be impressed that you're thinking ahead and you can put your best foot forward in the meeting. And I think that sense of, oh wow, I should go to my leadership and I should ask them what they want from me rather than expect them to tell me, I think was valuable to her, because I could say, as a leader, if people come to me with solutions, I'm really grateful, and I love those people. Yeah. So I guess what I was giving her was that different perspective. So of course I had to always couch it and say, I don't know your leadership team. I've never met them. So you have to see from what I'm saying, what really you think will resonate with them. And some things may and some things may not. But yeah, that really helped her, and I'm proud of her because, over this period it's been very difficult, hasn't it? But she's recently had a promotion and I can see her confidence has developed, and I think that's such a big part of mentoring. It's just to help people develop their confidence to do what they want to do. And not everyone wants to be CEO and rule the world, and that's fine. But what is it that's going to give them real value? So one of the first exercises we did together was creating her values, because I said, if you work out what's really important to you, then you can work out what the right job is and what the right company is for you. And you don't have to change companies to have value. Yeah. If you can discover it where you are. So I think, all of those little exercises were really interesting for me as well, and I believe some of them at least did help her.
Yeah, and I really like that because I always believe that in order to get more through mentorship, we first have to go deep, to really dig in, to say, okay, why am I feeling this way? Why do I want to go to a certain direction? What causes it? Is it authentic? And things like that. And I think to have that sounding board is so important. Carina, tell us a little bit about She Means Business.
Yeah, so She Means Business, obviously, we launched it 3 years ago with TW Magazine. MPI have recently come on board as well. And really, it's a program, again, it's about giving inspiration and confidence really to women in the meetings industry. So we deliberately started the event bringing in speakers, bringing in female speakers from outside of the industry, from inside of the industry, but people that you could really listen to and go, wow, that's an amazing story. So the first speaker we had was a lady who was training to be the first German astronaut, and she was a fighter jet pilot. And you'd expect somebody like that to maybe look in a certain way or speak. If you saw her in the street, you'd think she was a model or something, and just to hear her story was so inspiring and interesting. So that's what we've tried to do. We had another young 20-ish woman who has started a educational program for refugees in Germany. So she's teaching refugees to code so that they can get a job. Amazing story. So that's what we're trying to do, really. We'd love to develop it in time. So we have developed more of a conversation between men and women in the industry, because actually you only really change things by having the men in the room and having that conversation. But so far it's been a really kind of inspirational type of event that's run at IMEX in Frankfurt and IMEX America. And, you know, there's always between maybe 100 and 400 women in the room, and they really, really appreciate it. But we do get men in the program as well, because the speakers are so fantastic. Yeah. And we do have roundtable sessions, so they're able then to discuss more specific workplace issues as well. But that's the basis of it. And, you know, we in this online world, we did a panel at Planet IMEX in May, and we've got a couple of panels, again, talking about resilience and women's leadership style as well, which tends to be a bit different sometimes as well to men's.
Yeah, until we meet again. So is there going to be virtually connectivity before She Means Business, and how can people who are not as familiar with this program join it in the meantime?
Yeah, so we don't have a series of events at this point in time, but we will have during Planet IMEX in October, which takes place the week of the 12th of October, we'll have 2 panel sessions just dedicated to She Means Business. So in the short term, that is the best way to get involved. And then apart from that, you know, it's really about podcasts and blogs and things like that through our channels, where we tend to feature the speakers who've been on that. And in fact, the panel that was at Planet IMEX in May was one of our most watched. It was one of the most popular sessions of the week, and it's also one of our most watched on-demand videos as well. And that's still on our YouTube channel, so people can access that anytime. And that was really talking about leadership in crisis, and you know, that's interesting and important. Whoever you are in the world, and there were some really interesting stories, you know, and it was about cancelling events and how that manifested. So that was more industry specific.
Yeah, Carina, can I ask for such a program, what is the objective of the intention, and how do you manage or measure in terms of its success, whether you're getting closer to the goals?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think at this point in time, it's about inspiration. And so the success measures really, you know, through surveys and, you know, satisfaction scores, really. I don't believe yet we are changing the world, and that would be a different conversation. Through the program, you know, we are supporting research. So, for example, we have supported some research that will come out next month about that Faye Sharp has done through the Fast Forward 15 program, and that's got some really interesting results. And so we're trying, I suppose, through that program to inspire, but also support people who are doing other programs to measure whether the gender gap is getting smaller, whether workplace practices are improving, and that's really the goal at this point in time.
What is the one wish that you have for women around you?
Simply that they have the confidence to go and get whatever it is that they want. And I think, you know, confidence is such an important factor in achieving your goals, really, and not false confidence, but true belief in yourself. And I'm not saying that every man has belief in themselves, but we do see that there is a confidence gap, maybe more so with women in the workplace, and for whatever reason. And I'm not a sociologist, I can't, you know, pretend to know all those reasons. But that would be the one thing, whether it's friends of mine or people on my business, just to have the confidence to go and, you know, try something.
I love your wish, and I want your wish to come true.
Me too.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and as always, wisdom with your words. You've got a certain way with your words that I absolutely admire. So thank you.